Did you know that the average cost of a bag of peas at the grocery store can be anywhere from $3 to $5 for just a handful of pods? But what if I told you that for less than the price of a bag, you could grow your own fresh, delicious peas right at home, even in small containers? In fact, you can start your own pea garden for under $5, and you'll have a steady supply of peas all season long. Let's dive into how you can make this happen. Hey there, green thumbs! Welcome back to the channel. If you're looking to start growing your own fresh peas but don't have a lot of space or money, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to show you how to grow peas in containers for under $5. That's right, it's affordable, simple, and fun. First things first, let's talk about what you'll need. For just about $1 or $2, you can use any kind of container that holds soil, from a plastic bucket to an old tote. The key is ensuring it has good drainage. Peas don't like their roots sitting in water. Simply poke a few drainage holes at the bottom with a sharp object like a screwdriver or a knife. Alright, let's dive a little deeper into choosing the right container. Now, the beauty of growing peas in containers is that you don't need to invest in expensive pots or planters. The goal here is to be resourceful and creative. Let's go over your options. You can use practically anything that holds soil. If you've got an old plastic bucket lying around, that works perfectly. Just make sure it's clean and has enough space for peas to grow. Take this old milk jug, for example. It's free, and by cutting a few holes in the bottom, you can turn it into a fantastic mini container for growing peas. And, because it's clear, you can even see the roots developing, which is pretty cool. Make sure your container has at least 3 to 5 drainage holes at the bottom. Peas don't like their roots sitting in water, so good drainage is key to avoiding root rot. Next, let's talk size. While you don't need a giant container, you do want something that's at least 8 to 12 inches deep. Peas need space for their roots to grow, and the deeper the container, the better. If the container is too shallow, your peas might not grow as well, or they may get root-bound. A deeper container like this one gives the roots plenty of room to stretch out, which helps the plant get the nutrients it needs for strong, healthy growth. If you're really tight on space, you can even consider vertical planters. These are great for small balconies or patios. You can grow peas in multiple stacked containers, creating a small pea tower. This maximizes your space while still giving each plant enough room to grow. Another option is hanging baskets. They work great for dwarf pea varieties or even smaller bush peas. Just make sure the container is secure and gets enough sunlight. Finally, don't overlook the potential of repurposing old household items. An unused colander, an old shoe organizer, or even a clean garbage bin could be repurposed as a pea planter. Be sure to drill holes for drainage, and you're good to go. Be creative. You don't have to spend a lot on fancy containers when you've got old items sitting around that can be put to good use. So whether you're using a simple plastic container, a repurposed milk jug, or even a DIY vertical garden, there's no limit to how you can get creative with containers. Just make sure it has drainage, is deep enough for the peas, and is the right size for your growing space. Remember, these containers are inexpensive, sometimes even free, so you can start your garden without breaking the bank. Let's move on to the next step. Next up, soil. You don't need anything fancy. A small bag of basic potting mix will do the trick, and you can find it for around $3. This is the foundation for healthy plants. Fill the container about 2/3 of the way with your soil. Now, let's talk about the most important thing after your container, soil. The right soil is key to giving your peas the best start in life. Luckily, you don't have to spend a fortune on fancy soils. Let's break it down. You can pick up a small bag of basic potting mix for around $3. This kind of soil is perfect for growing peas in containers because it's light, well-draining, and packed with the nutrients your plants need. So why potting mix, specifically? Well, potting mix is different from garden soil in that it's designed for container gardening. It's lighter and more aerated, which allows for better root growth and prevents water from sitting at the bottom of the container. Peas need drainage, so this helps prevent root rot and other soil-borne diseases. When choosing potting mix, make sure you pick one that's designed for vegetables or all-purpose use. Avoid mixes that are too heavy, like those with added clay, as they can retain too much water and make your peas unhappy. While basic potting mix is great, adding a little organic matter can help your peas thrive. You can mix in a handful of compost or well-rotted manure. This adds extra nutrients to the soil and will encourage your peas to grow stronger and produce better yields. Mix it evenly into the soil, just a small amount will do the trick. Organic matter helps improve the texture of the soil, promotes good drainage, and enhances nutrient availability. Peas prefer a slightly acidic to neutral soil pH, somewhere between 6 and 7. If you want to get precise, you can test your soil's pH with a simple soil test kit, which usually costs around $5. Most bagged potting mixes are within the right pH range for peas, but if you're using repurposed soil or soil from your garden, this is something to keep in mind. When it comes to fertilizing, peas don't need too much. In fact, over-fertilizing can cause more harm than good. If you're using a nutrient-rich potting mix in compost, you probably won't need additional fertilizer. However, if you want to give them a boost, you can use a slow-release, balanced fertilizer, something with equal amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Just be sure to follow the instructions and don't go overboard. So, the total cost of soil, compost, and possibly a little fertilizer should be under $5, and that's all you need to create the perfect growing environment for your peas. Remember, the soil is where your peas will get their nutrients, and it plays a huge role in their health. Choose a light, well-draining mix, add some organic matter for a nutrient boost, and avoid over-fertilizing. Your peas will love you for it. Alright, let's move on to the next step, planting those peas. Now, for the fun part, peas. You can grab a packet of peas for about $1. Look for varieties that are good for container growing, like dwarf peas or bush peas. Sow your pea seeds about 1 to 2 inches deep and space them a couple of inches apart. You can plant multiple seeds in the same container if you're using a bigger pot. Alright, now it's time to talk about the star of the show, pea seeds. Peas are one of the easiest and most rewarding plants to grow, and choosing the right seeds is the first step in ensuring a successful harvest. When selecting pea seeds, look for varieties that are suitable for container gardening. Some peas are better suited for small spaces than others. For example, dwarf or bush peas are perfect for containers because they're compact and grow to a manageable height. Some great varieties to consider include Little Marvel, which is a short, early maturing pea, and Oregon Sugar Pod, a sugar snap pea that's perfect for growing in containers. You can also try Tom Thumb, which is one of the tiniest peas you can grow and ideal for small spaces. These varieties are not only compact but are also known for producing high yields, even in smaller spaces. So, if you're looking to get the most out of your limited container garden, these are your go-to options. When it comes to planting, you want to sow your pea seeds about 1 to 2 inches deep. Make sure to space them about 2 inches apart to give each plant room to grow. Even if you're using a small container, don't overcrowd the seeds. Giving them enough space will allow for better air circulation and prevent the plants from becoming too leggy or weak. Here's a pro tip: soak your pea seeds overnight in water before planting them. This helps soften the seed coat and speeds up germination. Just place your seeds in a small bowl of water, leave them overnight, and plant them the next day. By soaking the seeds, you're encouraging them to sprout faster, which means you'll have peas ready to harvest sooner. You can either direct sow your pea seeds straight into your container or start them indoors in seed trays and transplant them later. For container gardening, I recommend direct sowing. It's less hassle, and peas tend to adapt well to their new homes. Planting directly into your container also avoids the stress of transplanting, which can sometimes harm young pea plants. Just make sure your container is ready, and plant those seeds about 1 to 2 inches deep. And there you go! A packet of pea seeds typically costs about $1 to $2. For that price, you get enough seeds to fill multiple containers and have fresh peas all season long. Peas are a great investment because they grow quickly and yield plenty of pods, so you'll get a lot for your money. Whether you're going for snap peas, shelling peas, or snow peas, these seeds are a simple and affordable way to get started. Remember, choosing the right variety and spacing your seeds properly is key to a successful harvest. With a little patience, you'll be rewarded with fresh, delicious peas in no time. Now, let's move on to the next step: watering and giving your peas the right care. Once your seeds are in, give them a gentle watering. Peas like moist soil but not soggy conditions, so be sure to water regularly, especially when the soil starts to dry out. Make sure to place your container in a sunny spot, ideally where it gets about 6 hours of sunlight a day. Peas thrive in full sun. Now that you've got your peas planted, let's talk about 2 of the most important things they need to grow strong and healthy: water and sunlight. Peas are pretty straightforward when it comes to watering, but there are a few things to keep in mind. First and foremost, consistency is key. Peas like their soil to stay consistently moist, but they don't like to sit in water. That means you'll need to water your plants regularly, especially during hot or dry spells, but you also want to make sure the water drains away properly. When you water, give your peas a good soaking, but make sure the water drains out of the bottom of the container. If you see water pooling at the top or the soil staying too wet, that's a sign of poor drainage, and you might want to adjust the amount you're watering or ensure your container has enough holes. One of the most common mistakes with container gardening is overwatering. You want to make sure that the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are dry before watering again. A simple moisture meter can help, or you can just stick your finger in the soil to check. Overwatering can lead to root rot, which peas definitely don't like. So, be sure to water thoroughly, but not too frequently. Now, let's talk about sunlight. Peas absolutely love the sun. They need around 6 hours of sunlight per day to grow their best. If you're growing peas in containers, make sure you place them in a sunny spot, preferably where they get full sunlight for most of the day. Peas will thrive when they get plenty of light, and that sunlight helps them produce the energy they need to grow tall and produce lots of pods. If you're in a space with limited sunlight, don't worry, peas can still grow in partial sunlight, but they might not yield as much as they would with full sun. As long as they get at least 4 hours of sunlight, they should be able to grow. Just be mindful of the weather. If you're in a particularly hot or sunny area, be sure to water more often to keep the soil from drying out too quickly. And if you're growing peas in a very sunny spot, make sure the container doesn't overheat, as that can stress the plants. So, the great news is that both watering and sunlight are free. The only investment here is your time and attention. Keep the soil moist, and give your peas plenty of sunshine, and you'll have happy, healthy plants in no time. By watering consistently and placing your peas in a sunny spot, you're setting them up for success. As they grow, be sure to check on them regularly, and they'll reward you with fresh, delicious pods. Now that we've covered watering and sunlight, let's move on to the next step, supporting your peas as they grow. As your peas grow, they'll need a little support. You don't have to buy a fancy trellis, just grab a couple of sticks from your backyard or use some twine to make a simple frame. Attach the twine or sticks to the side of the container, and as your peas grow, gently guide them up for support. Alright, now let's talk about trellising. As your peas start to grow, they'll need something to climb. Peas are natural climbers, and they love to grow vertically, which is why adding a trellis or some kind of support is so important. Without support, peas can end up sprawling all over the place, which can make them harder to harvest and lead to overcrowding. Plus, giving your peas something to climb up not only saves space but helps keep the plants healthy by improving air circulation. Now, you don't need to spend money on a fancy trellis. There are so many affordable and DIY options you can use. For a small container, a simple bamboo stake or a few sticks from your backyard can work wonders. All you need to do is arrange a few sticks or bamboo poles in the center of your container, and tie them together at the top with some string or twine. This creates a simple frame that your peas can climb up. If you have some leftover wire mesh or an old fence panel, those can work great too. Simply cut them down to size and lean them against the container, so the peas have something to latch onto as they grow. Repurposing old materials is not only budget-friendly, but it's also an environmentally friendly way to create a trellis that works perfectly for your peas. For a more creative approach, you can use twine or string to create a netting effect. Simply tie the twine between two stakes or poles at regular intervals, creating a grid for your peas to climb. This is a great way to encourage the peas to grow vertically and support them as they get taller. As your peas grow, gently guide them up the twine or trellis to encourage them to climb. You can use soft plant ties or twist ties to help them along the way if they need a little extra support. Now, the height of your trellis will depend on the variety of peas you're growing. Dwarf or bush peas usually only need a short trellis or support, about 12 to 18 inches tall. On the other hand, taller pea varieties can grow up to 3 or 4 feet tall, so you'll need a taller trellis to support them. Make sure your trellis is tall enough to support the full growth of your peas, and sturdy enough to withstand the weight of the plants as they mature and start producing pods. The best part? A DIY trellis can cost you nothing, or just a couple of bucks for materials like twine or bamboo stakes. So, it's a super affordable way to give your peas the support they need to grow strong and produce a bountiful harvest. Remember, as your peas grow, be sure to check in on them regularly and help them climb if needed. With the right support, your plants will grow up, not out, saving space and making harvesting a whole lot easier. With your peas supported by a sturdy trellis, they'll be on their way to healthy growth and a productive harvest. Now, let's move on to the final step, harvesting those delicious peas. Now, the best part, harvesting. Once your peas start to fill out and the pods are plump, it's time to pick them. Peas usually take around 60 to 70 days to mature, so keep an eye out for those beautiful pods. And just like that, you have your own homegrown peas ready for snacking or adding to your favorite recipes. So, there you have it, growing peas in containers for under $5. With just a little effort, you can enjoy fresh, homegrown peas without breaking the bank. Now that your peas have grown strong and healthy, it's time for the most exciting part, harvesting. This is when all your hard work pays off, and you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Peas are generally ready to harvest when the pods are plump and full. For snap peas, you want to pick them when the pods are still tender and crisp, before the peas inside start to fully mature. For shelling peas, wait until the pods are fully swollen, and you can feel the peas inside. Timing is key when it comes to harvesting peas. If you wait too long, the peas inside can become tough and starchy. Snap peas should be harvested when the pods are still bright green and firm to the touch. For snap peas, pick the pods when they're still flat, and the peas inside are just starting to swell. You should be able to snap them easily off the vine with your fingers. If the pods start to bulge and feel soft, that means the peas are too mature, and they may lose their sweetness. For shelling peas, wait until the pods are fully rounded, and you can feel the individual peas inside. The pods will be slightly tougher, and they'll have a noticeable bulge. Gently pull the pods from the plant and open them up to reveal the peas inside. To shell peas, just snap the pod open along the seam and pop the peas out. It's a bit of a fun process, and fresh peas taste so much better than the ones you buy in the store. If you prefer, you can use a pair of clean garden scissors or shears to cut the pods from the plant. Just be sure not to damage the plant while you're harvesting, especially if you plan on getting a second or third round of peas from the same plant. Don't forget to keep an eye on your peas over time. Harvesting regularly encourages the plant to produce more pods. The more you pick, the more the plant will keep giving. Once you've harvested your peas, it's best to enjoy them as soon as possible while they're still fresh and sweet. However, if you need to store them, you can keep them in the refrigerator for a few days or blanch and freeze them for long-term storage. To blanch peas for freezing, simply drop them in boiling water for 1 to 2 minutes, then transfer them immediately into ice water. After they've cooled, drain them and pack them into freezer bags for later use. The best part about harvesting peas? It's totally free. After all the work you've put into growing and caring for your plants, harvesting them is the easiest part, and it's so rewarding. Host, holding a bowl of peas and smiling at the camera. Whether you're eating them fresh, using them in recipes, or freezing them for later, there's nothing quite like enjoying the taste of peas you grew yourself. That's it, your complete guide to growing peas in containers for under $5. With just a few simple steps, you can have a flourishing pea garden, even in the smallest spaces. I hope this video has inspired you to start your own pea growing adventure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more gardening tips, and leave a comment below if you have any questions or want to share your own gardening experience. Happy growing!